Now, you mentioned earlier that someone made a comment at a meeting that you were in that could have been construed as kind of racist. Have you seen any other incidents through your job selling health insurance and getting people connected?
All the time.
Give us some examples. Give us some highlights.
The biggest misconception, and this is the thing that completely annoys me to my soul, and we've had this conversation. I was just actually talking to a fellow agent, I call him my work husband, about this today. There are so many misconceptions about immigrants that maybe don't have citizenship status getting services they're not entitled to, and that's simply just not the case. I always tell people, I try to educate people on immigration in general, what I know of it. There's so many aspects I don't know. But I get it all the time. How come my premium is this high when you have Mexicans out here getting Medicaid for themselves, getting food stamps for themselves? And I always tell them, in a professional way, I try to bring them back in, but at the same time, I'm like, look, that's just not simply the case. I use it as a way to educate. But again, you get some people that just are not willing to listen. And I've even I had one client that was extremely racist to the point that actually said to me, "Oh, I didn't know that you were white because you have a Mexican last name. So I didn't know that you were white, or I expected to see a Mexican standing in front of me." I had actually a client, a Medicare client, that said that to me, and I just was like,
Just lay it out there. I thought you were going to be a Mexican.
I didn't know. Well, she said, "I didn't know you were going to look like the way you look." And I said, "Excuse me?" And she was like, "I thought that you were going to be Mexican because you have a Mexican last name."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like stories like that, these basic stories, because it shows that people have preconceptions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
People have preconceptions, and who knows what pathway those thoughts are going to go down, right? Like, who knows where that could lead? That's why these incidents give people so much paranoia, because you have no idea. You start looking at people being like, is that person thinking this? Is that person thinking that, And then you're getting continuous feedback, right? That confirms that indeed there are people thinking that out here. And, how far the consequences of that go really varies. It can vary from nothing all the way to death. And, you're just spinning a wheel. And no one should have to exist like that, right?
There's been times too before where I got pulled one time when I drove a Tahoe, and the windows were tinted out, and I didn't customize it. I bought it customized. It had 20s and custom lettering. I don't know if you remember that old Tahoe I had. I bought the car that way, and I remember when I was back in my hometown, I was driving down the road, and I just got pulled over. When I pulled over, there were cops swarmed around me, and they're like, "Roll your windows down, da 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 da." We got a vehicle matching your vehicle description was in a robbery or whatever, and we need you to give us your documents, or we need to see your license, and where are you coming from? And when I started speaking to them, like in Spanish or like in English, I was like, "What do you mean? Like a vehicle like mine? My vehicle is custom, and I just came from work. So what do you mean in a vehicle like mine?" I said, "You're racially profiling me because I have a Latino last name." And then they kind of backed off a little bit. And I'm like, "There's nobody in this whole town that has this same car as me. It's just not possible. You only pulled me because you racially profiled me because I have a Latino last name, and you wanted to search my vehicle, which you picked the wrong one because my first degree is in criminal justice, so I know my rights." But I think of all the other people. They stopped my daughter downtown, my stepdaughter, and actually said, "It smells like alcohol in here. It smells like marijuana in here. Have you been smoking?" Because she was coming from the studio really late at night on campus working on a project that was due. She had been up for like 36 hours straight. Her eyes were bloodshot. She was on her way home because she had just finished the project, had been sleeping in the studio. And then they pull her because they profiled her and then tried to trip her up to the point to where they could search her vehicle because they were saying, oh, we smell alcohol. Oh, have you been drinking in here? Oh, where are you coming from? Oh, we smell marijuana. None of which she does. But I told her, I said, that's how they get you. So they do the racial profiling just based off of that. And those are things that people think they're isolated incidents. They're not isolated in the least little bit. They happen all day, every day long.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that testimony. People need to hear that.
Thanks for watching. For access to the full-length conversation and all of the 2-hour-long unedited conversations that I've had on race, click the support link in the description below. Thanks for your support and see you next time.